The February Next Fest has completed. I've played a bunch of games and I'd love to talk about them. Over the course of the February 2025 Next Fest, I ended up playing 43 game demos, and I ended up wishlisting 30 of them. I'd like to tell you my thoughts on those. Only 3 of the games that I've wishlisted were in the top 50 list of gameplay demos, so there's a chance there's a few hidden gems in here. Let's start with Bao Bao's Cozy Laundromat. I haven't always done idle games, but I do use Spirit City Lo-Fi sessions. I think I understand the appeal of an app that oozes chill vibes and lets you focus on other things. It's worth looking into. The laundromat pixel theme is quite appealing. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be more than vibes and number goes up, but it is interesting to look into. Solarpunk. The trailer for this game was really good, but the gameplay for me didn't quite live up to it. My controller didn't work and things did seem a little janky. However, I see the promise and I'm going to chalk my issues up to a potentially bad demo build. I'm still wishlisting it and I'll watch its progress. Haste is a nice, bright runner game with a great sense of flow. I was worried that it would feel too loose or fast, but it's got a good flow state and the controls really do feel quite tight even in an early stage. This is something to watch out for. Is This Seat Taken? Is a hand-drawn style fun, chill puzzler. The individual characters give good feedback and the puzzles are enjoyable with little story elements put in between. It's got a good feel, and as a puzzle game, it provides just the right amount of challenge to keep you engaged. Wanderstop was much more beautiful and relaxing than I expected. When I watched the trailer, I really feared that it was a psychological horror story, and it ended up being a much more meditative, enjoyable game focused around the concepts of burnout and self-care. I'm really excited to see this one as it goes along. Deliver at All Costs is a game set thematically in the 1950s, with driving and missions being the main goal. The controls are pretty good, the music is nice, there's a fair amount of voice acting and a lot of cutscenes. But I can see the appeal of where a narrative driving delivery game like this would have a lot of fun. Scaravan 66 is a rockabilly Hades on Route 66 in a hot rod. The art and gameplay are already well along for good fun, and there's plenty to love here. It'll be interesting to see how this one develops as it goes along. Wheel World, an open world bike racer with an art style like a mix between Rollerdrome and Ollie, with decent controls and some nice story to go along with it. As is, I think I would buy this. Run Tavernquest. It's a comedy game where you pretend to be the program like Zork for a user that's not always the sharpest tool in the shed. It's pretty fun and it gives you quite a few options to mess with the user and try to get them going the right way. OllieFrog Toad Skater is kind of like Tony Hawk Cozy Frog Skating. Nice. The art style and round pixely frog make me want to root for this game to succeed. The gameplay is tight and it seems to be a mix of cozy game and sports simulation in a way that just scratches all the itches that I have. Islands and Trains is a creative little sandbox, kind of like Townscaper but with the ability to create train tracks and add trains to your small little island town. It's engaging and relaxing, and arguably has the best vibes in all of Next Fest. It was one of the games that I really wanted to go back to even after that big pile of games was done. Electro Boxing League is a sports game, rhythm game, management game with big band and steampunk vibes all at the same time. My first experience was a little overwhelming, but the vibes were good enough for me to want to return and see what they're going to do with this game. Descenders Next is like the original Descenders, but as the original game started with mountain biking, this replaces it with snowboards and snow. I like the original, but I don't love it. The same goes for the sequel. It feels a little bit too loosey-goosey in the controls, but it is a good time, and the branching path of all of the different courses do still create a really fun experience. Goodlands is a crunchy, pixely dinosaurs digging up fossils game. It's an interesting idea. The implementation is a little bland, but there's a chance that this gets polished into something really cool as they figure out the mix between dinosaurs finding and doing paleontology work. I really hope this ends up into something really cool. Monaco 2 was a game that I played the co-op mode with my kid. They really enjoyed it and kind of dragged me along. I appreciate that there were different mechanics and different ways to accomplish tasks, but I'm not sure if I specifically enjoy the espionage and stealth mechanics that were involved, even though they are well done and an improvement on the original Monaco game. I'm wishlisting because it might be a fun family game for my family. Neon Apex is a neon-soaked anime-style racer with lots of style and a great feeling of speed. It looks like there's a pretty big story mode available here as well. Good for both racing fans and people who like narrative paths. Wordatro. I was really worried it was just going to be a bad Bellatro clone, but it was more like a mix between Words on Stream or some other word game, but with some extra wrinkles. It seems to be much more. RippleFX technically isn't a game. It's a reasonably interesting audio visualizer. I'm not sure how much that's worth for you, but it's an interesting software with cool effects, and if you have media to play, it might be right down your alley given the amount of customization options that are available. We Took That Trip. A VW hippie bus with a Mr. Fusion as the gas tank, taking a road trip with an orange cat in a contemplative lo-fi road trip with some psychedelic elements. It also features music from Purple Cat, who's a lo-fi artist that I very much enjoy. It also talks about love and loss in an interesting way. Very interesting. Yes, Your Grace, Snowfall. The art and music are wonderful. The theme is interesting, and the pixel art style reminds me of Dave the Diver. However, the gameplay reminds me of the management aspects of Dave the Diver that keep me from doing the things that I want. I think I'd have to be in a particular mood to want to manage a kingdom in addition to my normal life responsibilities, but I'm still wishlisting the game because it's a pretty cool vibe. Piece by Piece has a nice bright art style and cozy vibes. It's a repair 'em up, but not with too much pressure. I'm not sure how deep it goes, but the process of working on each individual repair is a quite relaxing process. I found it much better to use with a controller than a mouse and keyboard, but that might improve as the demo and development continue to go on. Neo Junk City had wonderful art aesthetics and chiptune music for getting me in the right frame of mind for the game, and I appreciated the references to older games within the mini games of the game. I actually ended up getting stuck during the investigation process in what I can only assume is a beta glitch, but I do want to enter the story mode or maybe use a walkthrough to help me see everything that this game has to offer when it does come out. Nautical Survival is kind of like a mix between Luftrausers and a Survivor game, but with a nautical theme where you get to hang out on a boat and shoot things. The pixely graphics and the art theme are both very nice, and I think this is very well worth a follow. Kaya's Prophecy is kind of like a more polished version of Stacklands, a living card game. It also includes some branching exploration elements to choose challenges, and some Slay the Spire style card battles from time to time. It has an interesting mix of inspirations, but still ends up a really interesting combination of those mechanics, which was a lot of fun to play. Einstein's Cats is a decent puzzle game using deductive reasoning, featuring nice art and lots of cats. It's pretty relaxing to put all those cats in their baskets. Dunk Dunk is a mix between soccer, rugby, and NBA Jam. It has fun, cartoony characters, bots that provide a good challenge, good music, but I think that the place that it'll really take off is the local couch co-op where 4 players just go at it trying to make all the crazy dunks happen. Jitter is a game with interesting monochrome art vibes, science fiction themes, but tight ship mechanics similar to Subterranea but without gravity. The story centers around a sentient AI character in the narrative parts, and overall it's a pretty cool setup. It's worth paying attention to. Despelote is halfway between a game and a narrative experience. The storytelling was very powerful and the vibes were great. It feels like I'm next to history as it happened, and I have the ability to interact with it however I want. Drop Duchy is a mix between Tetris, Hand of Fate, and Carcassonne. It creates an interesting puzzle game that I will keep my eye on, as the gameplay loop is quite appealing. Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping is a humorous detective game with a pretty forgiving story mode and a distinctive feel. Worth a look, if not just for the fact that there's a duck gumshoe detective. So there you have it. 30 games that I wishlisted from Steam Next Fest 2025. Did you find any games during Next Fest? If so, mention them in the comments. Thanks for stopping by. Game on. Later.